name is Ian Park. Um, I'm a seven-figure entrepreneur. I've been doing this for a while, trying to get to that eight-figure mark. And for the longest time, I felt like I was stuck in terms of e-commerce because I was pretty much doing the same thing that I was doing when I first started. Yes, things have a little bit changed because I realized that I should be more analytical. But at the end of the day, no matter how much work you put in and how much analytical you get, if you're doing the wrong thing, you won't never see the progress. And especially this year, like I was very upset at myself because I was really working hard. But I just had this sense that I was always lost. And I was I would like to say I was very fortunate to come across Charlie. And when I first took his, I forget the name of the program, but
the course?
The course.
Yeah, the How to Build a Winning Facebook Ad Account in 2021 course. Yeah,
that course. So
long title.
Like, yeah. And before I've actually signed up for the program, I've been going through some of his YouTube clips. You know, there are so many e-commerce gurus out there, and there are so many media buying experts, and you have that. I've been doing this almost 4 years now, and I had to kiss a lot of frogs along the way because just letting you know, I did, have an experience in terms of, going to one of the high ticket, pricier mastermind, joining some e-commerce community, but it never really helped. So like when I came across Charlie's material, I was like, is this guy for real? I had my bullshit detection on. I had my guards up, and I was like, oh, this guy can't be serious. But I was like, at the end of the day, I told you about like beginning of this year, I had that frustration because I felt like I was somewhat stuck, and I really wanted to scale, but I couldn't. I was day trading. I kind of knew that my day trading was getting better and better, but like still I knew this was before the iOS 14 hit. So like, like back in January and February. So I knew that like my luck will eventually run out. So I was like, okay, Ian, just give it a try, see what he got to say. So I took his beginners course again with the program with the
How to Build a Winning Facebook Ad Account in 2021. Yeah.
There you
Next
go.
course, I'll shorten it down a little bit. I got you. Yeah. Live and learn.
Yeah. So I took that, and that was something real. Like I had when I was taking it. Like it's not like you get like the real nitty gritties, but you get a better understanding of Facebook, and it gets you pumped up because it kind of lays out the foundation, and it gives you a real good glimpse of how you should be approaching Facebook. And like whenever you do something and you actually need something that you want, I mean, even though you're not seeing the result right now, but you're very pumped up and you're very excited because you feel like this is going to be the game changer. And that's exactly how I felt. And then sooner or later, Charlie was opening his MBA program. And yes, at first I was somewhat reluctant or hesitant. I should say that's the right word, because it's not saying that Charlie's MBA program is expensive. It's just that it's there's an upfront investment. And again, I kissed a lot of frogs along the way, and I'm doubtful, right? It's probably, sure. I'm thinking to myself, hey, it's going to be another dose BS guru.
If you get burned so many times, you're just like, is this really, like, am I going to get my money's worth? Is this legit? Am I actually going to get to talk to this person? Are they going to disappear? They're going to take my money and then whatever? Like, totally. Like the the horror stories that I hear from people for years and years about how they got burned. Like, that's kind of why I built it myself, because I was like, you know what? I could do this legit.
Sure. I agree 100%. So I was really hesitant because, and at the same time, sometimes if you kind of download the wrong knowledge, it messes up what you have, right? And that's what I was really concerned as well. But I was like, you know what? Like, it's almost like you would never really make a progress unless you actually take that leap, right? It's life, right? Even though maybe the downside is really big in a sense that you might fall on your knees and then start to sob and stuff, but it doesn't matter. If you want progress, you just have to make that hard choice.
Yeah, like you're never going to be able to move mountains with like incremental change. And if you're making only safe bets all the time, like you're just going to fall further and further behind.
Right. And exactly. And that's exactly what, like, you know, I've been doing this for a while, and if I'm really not getting to the place where I am right now, probably it's not going to work if I just stick to my existing agenda, you know, and or existing
your knowledge base and what you're doing and what you know that works, because you're also seeing that it's getting diminishing returns. Like I remember, like you're working harder and harder, and things are getting a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And you're like, am I going to be able to 5x my business by working 103 hours a day? Like, there's not even that many hours in a day. How am I going to get there? Like, it's an unrealistic expectation.
Right.
And at some point, you have to solve the problem in a different way.
Right. Absolutely. It's like, just like you said, like, you know, how many more hours can you put in? There are only 24 hours in a day, so it's not like I can squeeze more.
yeah.
So yeah, and we started the first MBA program, and the ebook. It's not the prettiest ebook that you will see, but as a matter of fact, you know, my friend and I both enrolled for this MBA program, and before the program started, like, you know, my friend called me up. His name is Daniel, by the way. He called me up and said, "Hey, dude, you gotta check this ebook out. Like, it's something that I've never seen. It's almost surreal to me." I was like, "Okay, let's go over it." And I was like, I went over it, and Daniel was like, "Dude, do you understand it?" At that time, I thought I understood it, so I was like, "Yeah. It sounds good." But he was really pumped up about it, and it's like, but looking back, I was delusional. I thought I understood it, but it was completely different from what I first interpreted when I read the book.
Yeah, because you were interpreting it through the knowledge that you had.
Right. So, and after that, you know, the MBA program started, and right off the bat, it was really good. Like, it was very foreign, because for those people who are used to, you know, those conventional e-commerce course, you have like pretty design layouts with, like, you know, modules broken down by, like, you know, 10 minutes or 30 minutes, and you have a lot of those. But for his, it was more like, you know, 30 minute to 1 hour module, and 1 hour 1 hour Zoom call, and 1 hour office hour. And I got a lot of things to say about office hour. So at first, when we kind of figured out that, oh, it's actually the setup this way, you know, like, because we're used to seeing this e-commerce module where you would have like module up to module 61 or something like that, like, you know, going beyond 50. And we were like, okay, it's a 9-week program, and if you're going to get modules every single week, that's only 9 modules. I mean, is this a ripoff? Like, and then I'll tell you the real story. Like,
I love it.
What we did was, okay, Daniel, we gotta really fish out if this guy's for real or not, even though we signed up for it, because, you know, we really do not want to. I mean, if this guy's a big con man or something, we better really get the fuck out of here. Oh, am I supposed to? But yeah, we really have to get out of here. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what I said. And we did some searching, and then he was telling the truth in terms of like his background. We
I like that you deep Googled me. Yeah.
Social
media.
That's great.
Yeah. You making sure I wasn't catfishing.
Yeah. And then I'll check out and I said, oh, it's all right. We gotta chill. We gotta chill. And yeah, so we're like, okay, dude, man, before we judge anything, because by the book's cover, let's really, hear what he has to say. Gotta say. And the first module was great. Okay, the first module was great, but it wasn't. I didn't really feel like it's great at that time because I had my guards up. I was like, I was more like, okay, let's see what this guy is going to do with the Zoom call. And it's only a 1 hour Zoom call. Like, how much is he going to talk about in Zoom call? And Zoom call was fairly short too, but there was a knowledge bomb. But here's the cream of the crop, the office hour. And the one thing that I can really say is that's the most distinctive factor for Charlie's program, because a lot of e-commerce program will have that 61 module or all the way up to 100 modules, but they will not have those office hours. Like, like for me, like at first point, I was somewhat, I thought it was somewhat, for the lack of a better term, hilarious, because like office hour, it sounds like college to me. Like it kind of reminded me of like, back in school.
Yeah,
and for me, like for me, I was like those kind of kid who would never attend professors' office hour just because, well, we had lecture, there's a textbook. I mean, what's there to learn?
Right.
So I was like, okay, and I was I always prepared these sheets to ask questions and stuff. But
I loved it. You were well prepared, man. I gotta say, you were a great student.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I had a great coach. But anyways, so I went to office hour, and that's where the real knowledge expansion occurred, because the good thing about Charlie is that he would give you the core principles and lay it out so that it's very simple, and so that you can really delve into it and then kind of absorb it. And while you're in the office hour, he literally hits the right note so that you really expand your knowledge and kind of extrapolate the whole thing. And let me say this, even what I just said might sound too conceptual or esoteric, but if I were to put it in a more tangible sense, and this is for real, the one thing that I felt like, what, like, if this office hours are this good, I should have done this when I was back in college. I should have attended all my my professors' office hours. My learning curve and the depth of my knowledge would be so much different from what I know. Although, like, I'm not really doing this totally related with my major, but I felt like that's exactly how I felt. And I was like, man, Ian, like, what have you been missing out on? That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
And I really do wish that I know that some people are not the fan of idea of having office hours, but probably thinking that, okay, I'm a hotshot, or I know how to think on my own. So as long as the materials are laid out for me, I don't really need to do it. So I think for the second MBA course, I think Charlie's also preparing as a subset of an MBA program. So for those people who do not want the office hour, they can just get the basic plan. But I would highly recommend for the office hour. I mean, go for that full package, because you're really missing out on the experience where you'll be learning a lot. And for me, I was very fortunate because and one more thing I want to talk about. The reason why I want to say that it's very distinctive is that Charlie, for him, this guy is a very busy guy. He has a lot of things to do, but he won't kick you away just because, okay, we're going to measure 45 minutes. After 45-minute mark, hey, you got to get out because I'm a busy person and I got a lot of things. No, like I knew sometime, he had other plans to do, but he literally want to make sure that you understand the materials and you cover all the questions that you have. And I think
one time we went like 2.5 or 3 hours.
Well, yeah, 3 hours. Yeah. And I guarantee you, you will not see that from e-commerce gurus, because all they're thinking is, okay, what is the ROI for every minute? You know what I mean? So like it's and at the end of the day, it's true. Everyone has their hidden agenda, right? Everyone's here to make money, but at the end of the day, like as a customer, you kind of feel it, right? If this person has too much hidden agenda, I know that you're calculating that ROI of minute, and it becomes a total turnoff, right? And then you probably would never, yeah. I'm pretty sure you experienced it too, right?
Yeah. And for me, the ROI is the relationships.
Yeah,
like I know that you and I have developed a relationship over this, and at the end of the day, we're going to be able to both take advantage of that for a long time. And for those folks that design something that's kind of spray and pray, or like, here's a thing, go through it on your own and that's it, like if you feel burned by somebody, you're never going to go back to them, and you're more likely going to tell all your friends that's a scam. And like, you know how much harder it is to run a scaling business or to exist in what is effectively a pretty small world if you have this reputation of just burning everyone. Like I would so much rather, and that's one of the reasons too why I limit the amount of students, is because I wanted to make sure that we had that personal relationship, right? Like it was, it's not like there was 50 people, right? It was like, it was a manageable thing, so that I knew every time we were getting on the call where you were at, what we talked about last time. And because it doesn't end when the 9 weeks are up, you know? Like you still have, like, as I update the curriculum and as there's more group classes and stuff, like you're gonna be able to jump into those group classes and ask questions or help out other people or lean on those resources for forever. I mean, and that's part of the investment, just like a college. Like you can audit the class again if you want to. You can lean on your alumni group.
Right, for sure. And yeah, that was the part where I and one more thing that I wanted to say about that is, not only he's not literally counting every minute, like he's literally, for the office hours open so that he can attend to all of your problems and pains. Not only that, but you can really feel that he really cares, and then try to remember stuff, because every time you have next sessions, he remember things that you kind of discussed in the previous sessions, whether that was in the Zoom call or whether that was during the office hours. So like he literally, I mean, obviously that also has to do with Charlie's intelligence, because this guy's a pretty smart dude. Yeah, and he was born with it, so obviously he remembers things very well, and you'll be amazed, especially when he's going through your ads manager with you. I mean, he would take a glance at a number. He knows how to break down really easily, and at the same time, if you're going to a different page, he still remember the numbers, like in terms of I remember what were the cost per purchase for that.
Yeah, we'd be like 5 minutes later, like, well, but that other thing was $13.95. Like, yeah.
So it makes the conversation a lot easier. You know what I mean? It makes you feel like you have like multiple screens when you're talking with him, because you don't have to backtrack everything because he remembers it. Yeah. He has that, what you call it, that photogenic memory or something like that. Yeah.
Well, it's not terribly photogenic, but it is. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. It's really amazing. And this guy's pretty cool. I mean, I know he says it a lot in YouTube clips, and he goes like, he calculates something, but it's like, oh well, to be honest, I'm not good at math. But dude, man, this guy's good at math. He's joking. So yeah, and don't be too intimidated if you cannot compute it in your head, because his is special. And that's one other thing as well. Like so going back to it, this guy, literally cares about you, and make sure that things, like literally when people like do have the most common sales pitch for these kind of services, or consulting service, or any kind of program, is that when they're always there, the first thing they say is, I want to help you. And I hate it. Like when I hear that, like I run like, the opposite direction of the room, just because, okay, since when did you start to know me that you start to care about me and you want to help? You know what I mean? That does not make sense. And that was one thing that, Charlie talked about. Okay, like he was trying, like when we like before I enrolled for the MBA program, we had this obvious this contact in terms of like having conversation. He was trying to figure out we were good fit or not, but never not even once there was a point he said, okay, I'm doing this to help you, because I think he himself he himself doesn't want to say that. Yes, he goes for the relationship, but obviously for him, I felt like he felt like for him to really help me, like we really also have to develop that relationship, and also he's got to start to understand my stuff until he can really help me. And like he wasn't over promising anything.
I'd love to under promise and over. I'd love to under promise and over deliver. And if I can set the expectations low and then crush them, that's always a great place to be. But even those low expectations is just trying to deliver on exactly what I said, because I don't try to do more than that. But I also try to say that like I don't tell people you're going to 10x your business. Right, you know what I'm saying? That's an unrealistic thing. Like if I'm just straightforward from the beginning, then it's really easy. Like you're going to understand this stuff. You're going to have more confidence with it. You're going to save time. You're going to make more money. Like those are very concrete things that, I mean, that's the promise is the confidence and the time management and the awareness and understanding. And
yes.
From there, it's up to you.
That's exactly what he says. Yes. And like he said, right now, or like you said right now, I am talking as if, Charlie's not in front of me, but, like he said, 9 weeks out before we started the program, he said something like, I was telling him, so 9 weeks out, what are the results that I'll be seeing? And he never said something like, okay, you're going to, 2x or 3x your business. But what he said was, you will be more confident and there will be absolute directional change. And I vouch for that. You will be more confident there's absolute directional change. No guru in this role all of a sudden going to change your business and after 9 weeks and make it 10x or something like that. That's almost impossible. Maybe in a 6-month time frame, and especially that's possible if you're doing like I don't know, 5-figure or 6-figure. It might be possible. You might, double or triple. But no, it's if you're already doing the same thing. I mean, you know how the learning curve looks like, right? You have that steep growth, and then at some point when you hit it, like it's not going to be as steep as before. The curvature kind of like rounds up, and it's hard to do that. But like I guarantee you that there's going to be directional change, and you will no longer feel that you're lost. I mean, obviously there's always something more to learn and stuff, but because your foundation becomes a lot more solid, like you feel like, oh, okay, I get it. And now I know what to add more onto, and that's totally different, because before I was like, oh man, like I don't even know what the foundation is, right? I don't even know what are the principle or the core part of the medium buying is. And
to that point, like one of the things I loved is, well, you had this luxury too, because you went through with a friend, both of you went through the MBA program together. By like week 6 or 7, you guys started to come up with your own hacks based on all the fundamentals. And you're like, have you done this before? I was like, I haven't done it. Like, let's set it up. Like, this will be fun. Like, it got to the point where you weren't just trying to figure out what everybody else was doing and replicate it for yourself. You were able to take the core discipline and create knowledge. And to be honest, like the thing that we were doing around product testing and like even cutting that testing down, even building on that stuff, like I've been doing that more myself, and like, you guys are right. Like, I'm going to probably be teaching that if I can replicate it over the next 10, 15 weeks. Like, if Q3 and 4 proves out that it's right and it becomes a standard of practice, like, you guys will have added to the knowledge base that everybody will benefit from. And like, that's awesome. And I'll 100% be willing to say, like, I don't know. Let's try it out. And let's not pat ourselves on the back because we won once. Like, here's how we can define that this is going to be a new core element of knowledge foundation. And that's what it's all about. I mean, having done dozens and dozens and dozens of case studies, like, if you can't rely on it and it doesn't change your business practice, then, hey, that was fun. But you can't chase, hey, that was fun, and legitimately build a business on it. Like,
right.
That's not how you get the 3,000 a day, 10,000, 30, $50,000 days. You don't do that by getting lucky. You know?
Yeah, true. And speaking of, like, so like the friend that I took this program with is Daniel. Yeah, like, we had office hours, and whenever he had his office hour, he would call me up. Whenever I had my office hour, I would call him up, and we had a lot of discussion, and those were really also like it, you know. So we had Zoom call, and after that we discussed Charlie's office hour, and obviously you're not going to digest everything, so you're going to talk to your peers, and I guess that's why, like, it also, like I kind of said, for office hour, it kind of reminded me of, you know, back in college days. And for after, like, my interaction with, after that I had this FaceTime call with my friend, my buddy, Daniel, and that kind of reminded me of, like, peer conference back in elementary school. And because I don't know if you had it, but, like, for us, like, for read, like, you know, you would have this, you know, reading class, and, you know, you would go over the books, and there's always like a little peer conference session. I never treasured it. I can never see the value of it, but, like, that's actually where the real learning occurred, because we were trying to understand the stuff that Charlie talked about. And you know, Daniel is really good. I mean, we talked about in terms of, like, you know, he's literally optimizing it to the nth degree, and he talks about it, and then he talks about it. Hey, here's an idea. I want to even go even, you know, more extreme. You know, I want you to, you know, go through it, and then, you know, be critical about it, and then break it down and just hear me out. Okay. So, like, we just pretty much, he had these you know, whenever he had these group of thoughts, and, like, in an idea, he would talk about it, and while we have this conversation, you know, we would extrapolate more and more and more, and make it more, you know, more concrete. And then the beautiful thing is, once those new addendums are said, what we do is, instead of just talking about it theoretically and hypothetically, what we're going to do is, okay, why don't we test it? And we would test it. And the good thing is, it's not only him, we have 2 test samples, right? So the validation becomes a lot more, you know, it even gets enhanced because of that. So that's one thing that I also want to say. I mean, I know for Charlie, it's for Charlie to say, hey, you should have a peer conference. It might, you know, he can't say that because everyone has a different schedule, and you know, maybe some people might not be comfortable with doing it because they don't really know each other. For us, we were fortunate because we've known each other for, you know, in 3 years, I think more than 3 years. I mean, we actually met at a mastermind, and we kind of clicked at that meeting, and then ever since, you know, we've been always trading, you know, information. And as a matter of fact, I really got to give it to Daniel. Like, he was very generous in terms of, like, whenever there are new stuffs out there, you know, the first thing that he does is, like, you know, send me these, like, new materials and books. Hey, you know, I want you to take a look into it, and then hear me. I mean, I want to hear what your thoughts and opinion about it. And then yeah, and then we would talk about it. And that's first thing as well. Like, for Charlie's material, like, you know, you got to check this guy out. And then that's how it actually occurred. And I would definitely suggest, Charlie cannot force you or ask you to do it, but it's really recommended in terms of, like, you know, after office hour, find someone, your group where you could have like a FaceTime peer conference and talk about really try to digest together and try to implement and share, hey, is this working for you, is that not working for you? Because at the end of the day, every account is different, right? Even Charlie's programming is his core principle, it might be right, but the effect might be different by people, right? That's why he never promises that, even though you strictly follow what I say, you mean you're going to hit this result right away. It's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah, and but every business model is different, and everybody's situation is different. And whether you're starting from zero or you have a $10,000 a day, like there's no copy and paste path to success. And that's where the office hours really come in, because then we could customize all of those core principles to your very specific situation, which is why whether it's a SaaS company, lead gen, drop shipping, e-commerce, brand building, whatever. And in the class that you were in, there were two guys that owned agencies, right? There was a woman that was just trying to learn this as a skill set. There was another guy that was trying to run his business and his assistant coming through it. And there was just all sorts of different people in different walks of life. And now you're all a member of that group. And, when the classes start up again in a week, if you guys want to hop in the call, that's what it's there for, and you might find other people that are there for you, and you could either mentor them or find other people to, learn from, and having that peer group where everyone has the same language and the same basics and the same understanding. I think one of the other things that I talk about a lot is this is a very lonely business. If you work in-house, the person that's paying your paycheck is going to hold you off in the small little rooms that nobody else, like the guy that was paying me, he might have paid me $100,000. I make him an extra $1 million a month. He's not going to let me see the light of day. He doesn't want anybody to steal me, or whatever that case is. And because there's such a secrecy, and because there's business knowledge, I think it is really great to know that you're no longer alone, and that you've got brothers and sisters to go through it this with.
And yeah, absolutely. Because that's exactly what I told Daniel. I've known this guy for 3 years, but we never really communicated. Up to this degree, in a sense that even every single day after, even though now that MBA ended, we still talk every single day, at least an hour. And it makes it feel like you said, it's a very lonely road, but it now feels like, for me, I don't really believe in business partners, just because before I started my e-commerce business, I had other businesses that I run. And, obviously, I have a lot of other things that are running besides the e-commerce business. But before the e-commerce business, I had a business where I had a business partner, and it didn't turn out very well. And it's not because of his fault. It's just that I feel like I'm not a person who can have a partner. Everyone's different, right? Yeah. And so I was very doubtful. But what I told Daniel was that since we got to have this FaceTime call every single day, I felt like I told him, hey, bro, one of the greatest thing is, besides the fact that we have that knowledge, expansion, and we get to, discuss about a lot of things, I feel like I have a business partner without the BS part, because, a lot of thing about having a business partner also has to do with, some ego, right? Because did I put more effort in? Did you put more effort in?
Sure.
If you didn't put a lot of effort in, why are we splitting it to half? Because
it's a group project in school where that one person is doing shit, but they also still get a B. It's like you didn't do anything.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. I might have been too childish about it, but that was the issue for me, because I couldn't handle the fact that I had to work, because the other guy got married early, and obviously after he checks out, he literally he doesn't look at the how things are running. So I got a little bit I got a
And
little
now
bit
you're in
bitter
the
because of that.
situation where you have colleagues
Right, right.
that you can be open with.
Right. And we don't have to fight, because if you want to make our decision, we can still make our decision on our own. We don't have to try to persuade someone. But the thing is, we can make our discrete decision by actually having good conversation, and no one's going to be upset about it, you know, and that's the most beautiful part about it. And to sum it up, I would definitely say that I can guarantee you that you will feel more confident, because at the end of the day, the peace of mind part, if you've been running business long enough, you know that that's real. That's so important. I've encountered so many people, especially who are running business, who are saying that, hey, I have cold feet when I'm trying to go to sleep at night. I can't sleep, you know, like, and I don't know. I don't care if you're a baller or whatnot. I'm pretty sure you experienced it. Everyone had experienced tough times. And like, you're thinking, okay, is tomorrow, like, are we going bankrupt? You know, those kind of things, you know, especially like right now with the iOS 14, you know, with the underreporting, it's very chaotic. And what I want to say is, you would have that peace of mind because you feel like you had that foundation laid out. So all you need to do is make adjustment, make sure that it works for you, and you know what to do in terms of it. You might not be hitting the result right now in terms of what you expected. Like for instance, like for me, it was like, okay, I really want to hit that 8-figure mark, but before even talking about the result, you still have this you know, you're very grounded in a sense that you have this confidence, and you would have directional change. And especially during this era, the post iOS 14 era, when there's an underreporting happening, if you're like me, like day trading before, like running multiple campaigns, well, good luck with that. How are you going to, you know, all the attributions are going to be off. You know, no UTM parameters are going to help you, because if you're already doing UTM parameters, you probably see a lot of NAs, meaning that you know, even Shopify cannot link, you know, the right campaign for you. And yeah, if you have multiple campaigns, let's say UTM parameters work perfectly and you will not see any NAs, but like literally the parameters you put in, it will still be very complicated for you, because if you're running a lot of campaigns, you literally have to compute, you know, CPA for every single campaign. And if you were like me, I had multiple products running, and for each product I had like you know, 10 to 20 campaigns running. Well, you know, that would take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just logging on Stretchable itself.
And that time doesn't ultimately turn out to more money. Like, even if it's you get the exact same result, but you save 5 hours a day, like that's what it's about, you know, like, because it's about that efficiency, you know, and if you can save 5 hours a day, like, you could put yourself through more education, you can build more of your business model. And while this is a lot about a Facebook ads MBA thing, my biggest hope for most people is that when they get that confidence and they get that understanding, it also gives them the freedom to address the other things that are really going to help, whether that is your business model, whether that is more client calls, whether that is acquiring more business. You know, if you're an agency and you don't have to spend nearly as much time talking to each client, we can acquire more, or you can grow them. Or if you're a media buyer, drop shipping 20 different products, why not build around 1 or 2 brands? And then you can spend half of this time that you used to be day trading Facebook on, why don't I upgrade my email? Why don't I work on my landing page conversion? Why don't I work on all of these other things that will be way more beneficial than hitting numbers in little boxes all day long, so I get that dopamine hit and hopefully I see money from it. You know what I mean? Like at some point,
for sure.
And I say that as somebody that used to do that. I remember I would quite literally get a Trente cold brew, no ice, sit down at my desk, tell everybody else at the business to leave me the fuck alone. I'd put on my headphones and I would create an extra $20,000, $30,000 in revenue that day for the client. I mean, we were doing like $100,000, $250,000 a day, but like I could, by force of will, sit there for 8 hours and make money. Problem was 6 months later, I had to do the same exact thing.
Sure,
and it's just like,
sure.
At what point do I want to do this for the rest of my life?
Sure.
You know? And then I simplified stuff and I get the same result in 1/5 of the time. And 3 months later, I was doing twice as much. And I was like, well, that makes sense. Why don't I just set myself up for success instead of trying to be smarter than something that is way smarter than I'll ever be?
Yeah, and speaking of that, that's the beauty part as well. Like, he talked about, and having more time where you can work on other stuff. Like for me, like the biggest thing was our team. I was always talking to my team saying, hey, we got to work on back end. We got to work on back end. But it never really occurred because I was always too busy doing media buying. Like, there were many times where I was asking myself, am I a media buyer or am I a business owner? You know what I mean? Like, so because you're burning a lot of money every single day, so that you can't really delegate your work to anyone else, because like, even to the same, like, I have Facebook account managers. I had a lot of account managers before too. Right now I have I think they call it account partner, but like, account managers cannot solve your problem. And one thing, speaking of Facebook, good thing about Facebook, so you might be wondering, those who are listening to this, okay, well, how would you know Charlie's Way is the right way to do it? Like, obviously, like, for you to travel to Rome, there are like literally million ways to reach Rome, right? But do you want to take the shortest path? I would, right? Why bother taking the longest route? And what you say is, like, Charlie, you look it up on your own. He had worked for the largest agencies, so I'm pretty sure he had experience. I mean, he was open to he came across a lot of so-called experts in the industry. So I'm pretty sure that's where he developed his fundamentals, right? So he had a good school, like, in terms of, where you work is really important. There's a big difference in terms of, like, if you try to learn martial arts, like, jujitsu or something like that, it really depends in terms of, like, what place where you lay your first foot in, right? And he came from the right background. And at the same time, the reason I kind of knew that he was talking the right thing was that, like, right now I have my account partner from Facebook, and what he teaches is, like, totally aligned with what Facebook says. What they recommends for you to do. So, hey, it's an algorithm developed by Facebook. Why would you try to do something that Facebook tells you not to do? And I can guarantee you, I mean, and those who are watching probably know this. Pretty much everyone in the e-commerce space, the so-called gurus, they'll probably say a lot of stuff that has that goes against what it's laid out on Facebook Blueprint. You don't really have to have. Is that Facebook Blueprint? The recording module they have? Yeah. So, like, you can just compare that, and it's like, okay, Facebook tells me to do this. Why is this so-called guru telling me to do that? But what he says is, like, totally aligned with what Facebook account partner, in my case, or Blueprint said. I mean, like, for me, like, I didn't go through the whole account. I mean, Facebook Blueprint, just because,
there's a lot there.
Yeah, a lot there.
I mean, like, and I've gone through it a bunch of times myself, and luckily I've had my work taught through that, that my creative testing module for how to do CBO and stuff like that. Like, I mean, and I've also had gurus sell it. Like, I've been at a conference where I literally saw some guy record himself teaching my case study and then charging people $700 for the 45-minute recording of the thing that is available for free on Facebook with my name on it. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And, like, whatever, that guy's got to hustle. I can't shame anybody for their hustle, but I really appreciate it, man. I know that, your time is valuable, and I don't want to take too much of your time here, but like if you had to give somebody that might be worried about like the cost or the value or the timing, like if like what was like, I would love to know, like if you had to just, if somebody came up to you in an elevator and was like, should I do this thing or should I not? Like the answer might be yes or no. You know what I mean? Like it's not right for everybody at any time. And I don't want to ever say like everybody should absolutely do this all the time. But if somebody were to come up to you, like what was the conversation you had with Daniel or whatever, just if in 30 seconds or a minute or so, like what is the thing that you think would be perfect for somebody? Why should they get into it? Or if somebody's hesitant about, you know, the biggest issue I think people have is, one, should they trust me? And two, like it's not cheap, you know? And from your experience, what could you say to that person that would get them to the result that you think that they want to have?
Okay. Those are business decisions, so it's not easy, right? It wasn't easy for us. But I think it all boils down to your pain point, right? Like are you fed up with it? And I think many people are. If that's the case, if you were to see yourself doing the same thing 6 months later or 1 year, how much would you pay to overturn that? You probably will pay a lot. Like, you know, if I can change where I am 6 months, I mean, if I were to repeat the same thing 6 months later or 1 year later, that's going to be the trajectory of my future. And if there's a one magic bullet or magic wand where I can totally change the whole landscape, how much would you pay for it? If you ask that question, you probably would pay a lot. And you start from there, right? And then compared to the amount of money that you will pay for, is Charlie's course expensive? Then you get a better sense of it, right? And is it really the money that's problem, or do you want progress? I'm pretty sure there are tons of people who are chasing after progress. So that's all I can say. I mean, I cannot say like, you know, come on, it's so worth the money. I mean, that's not going to help you, like, because everyone's going to say, yeah, it's so worth the money or whatnot. But just think about that. And you can't. I'm not a guru, and obviously I'm a just tiny, small one of those small business owner. And I'm not, you know, like I'm not on like social media talking about my stuff or anything, or I don't even vouch for people, but I'm actually very critical. And some people might say like this guy's too pessimistic or something, but it's actually my first time. I mean, look it up if you don't believe me. Not that I'm a big person in over this e-com space. I really don't vouch people, and you know, I think this program is going to be really helpful, and you would have that directional change. In that case, it's worth it. So think about it. If your trajectory looked like where you stand right now after 1 year, how much would you pay for it in order to overturn that? And with that price in your mind, compare, Charlie's course. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's fractional to what you're willing to do. Yeah. So
yeah, especially with where you were at. You know, I mean, I think what you're going to be doing in 6 months versus what you would be doing 6 months from now if you hadn't gone through things like. I think the longevity of your life will benefit. Like your hair is not going to turn gray nearly as fast. You know, like like the quality of your day to day, and that stuff is just. It makes me feel great to know that I'm able to help folks out like that, you know, and I really appreciate that from you, man. And I got to, I got to hop and get on a call with somebody else that wants to get in on this. And I think that's super exciting, because now my days get to be full of providing people that opportunity and having this conversation with you and knowing like, your endorsement is basically to say, if you want the next 6 months or next year of your life to look different than it is today, how much would you pay to have that confidence and that change, knowing that things are going to be like what that could be like for you, because you're frustrated with where you're at now.
Yeah.
Like that's priceless. I mean, technically there is a price tag, but like the point is like that peace of mind and happiness, like so many people don't even have the opportunity to maybe even achieve it. And I love that you did. And it makes me feel really great to be able to help get you and Daniel there. And we'll speak for him, even though he's not here right now.
Alrighty, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, dude. I really appreciate it. Man. I know, like, hey, I'm not paying you for your hour, but I really appreciate it. I don't ask for a lot from people.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but it was good. Yeah. But yeah, good luck on your program, and yeah, we'll talk again, man.
I love it, man. And I hope to see you in some more classes. I'm going to be sending out another email tomorrow welcoming some of the new students. So you'll be seeing more Calendly links and more meeting invites and stuff like that. No more one-on-ones, but we'll figure that stuff out too. But I'll talk to you later, man. And thank you very much. I got to,
no worries, man.
I got to have a call.
Yeah. And go and kill it, man.
I will, buddy. See ya. You take care of yourself. And again, I love that notes in the background, man. You were giving you. I love it. I wish I had the glass walls. I'll see you later, buddy.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.